is not. There's no trace. This love is so real, just between. This is not. There's no
What up?
Hey, y'all.
How y'all
How's
doing?
it going?
This is Wednesday night at 9:01 now. And we are back in the place to be. This is our John and April Live, and we're glad you're here with us, and hope that you are here to enjoy things tonight. We have a few things we were trying to do this evening, so I actually wasn't sure what we were going to do our topic on. We have all this stuff, that, look at this, pretty long.
See, let's go.
Oh my goodness, man.
Love you, Primo.
So, there's an echo? Oh my goodness,
there's
okay.
an
All
echo.
right.
Yeah,
Let's see
we'll
how,
fix
that's
it.
right, let me figure that out right now.
Mac with a microphone. That's why I muted it.
Why is that even on? Oh,
Just
goodness,
mute it.
man.
Okay.
Okay, is it gone now,
The
right?
echo should be gone now.
Is it gone? Is the echo gone? Let me know. Okay, so, yeah. Wasn't sure what to do tonight because clearly there's a lot going on, and so we kind of had an idea to ask you guys what to do, and we'll get to that in a second. But something happened last week. This past Saturday night, we actually got invited at the last minute to join this show. It's called Snacking with the Grahams. There are 3 Graham brothers. They're from New York. They are Paul, Patrick, and Gary Graham. Cool as ice. Great people. Oh, there's Gary right there.
What up, Gary?
So I think it was Paul. Paul sent me a text message. Yo, man, can you jump on real quick? And I was like, what's going on? I was actually working on something. In fact, this had to be Friday. This was Friday. It wasn't Saturday.
This
It was Friday.
This Friday.
Because I was putting the finishing touches on my sermon, right? So I'm doing some stuff, sending it to my AV guys, and Paul says, jump on real quick. I'm like, I really can't, but let's just do it. So we get on there. And first of all, we had a ball with these guys.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
And I didn't get
guts.
to say who my favorite Graham was. So since Gary's on here, Gary, you my favorite Graham. Since I didn't get to say, nobody asked me who my favorite Graham was. Gary is mine now.
Hopefully Paul and Patrick are not watching. But anyway, so basically what ended up happening was, they know about our show and they've been really encouraging, talking about the great work they think we're doing and everything like that. It was very uplifting.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, yo, what's your Cash App? We were like, for what? So they asked what our Cash App information was, and we gave it to them. They put it up on the screen. And what they did was they asked us, is there any piece of equipment that you guys are looking for? Anything you're trying to do for your show? And we said, yes. We said we were trying to get this Stream Deck. It's this thing called an Elgato Stream Deck. It basically has a bunch of buttons on it. You can program and stuff. And so anyway, we're trying to just level up our stuff. And he said, yo, so he said to their viewers right then, we want y'all to donate to them.
I was like,
what in the world?
These guys.
So I didn't know what was going to happen.
So supportive. I thought that was so nice.
It was really nice. So anyway,
nice.
we literally started getting donations from people. So I want to shout them out right now. There were 5 of them. Andrew, Curleen, Natalie, Arima, and Carolyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys
for your support and your love to us. And look what happened. Look what came in the mail today.
Got
the Stream Deck is here. Now I haven't had
time today.
Yeah,
so
I didn't connect it to nothing.
We didn't get to play around.
So we're not going to use it yet. But thank you. So I want to thank the Graham brothers. Thank you guys. It was very generous of you. I feel like I don't know. I feel like you're a little brother and sister now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So thank you very much for doing that, and thank you to all that donated to
guys.
us. It was
so much.
Very unexpected, but we liked it.
Yes.
So anyway, tonight. So earlier today, I was at home. April and I, when she left to go to school, we were all disheveled just like you were because, we didn't know who the president was.
We had stayed up all night,
right. And we didn't get the results. And, of course, we all kind of knew that was going to happen, right? I mean,
we knew that. We knew that.
So while I was home today, it was around noon, I said, you know what? We're not sure what we're going to do the show on. We had 2 different options.
We kept going back and forth.
Exactly.
And John was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask the people.
Right. So I went live on Instagram and asked whoever was watching, which thing should we do tonight? I said, okay,
right,
Gary. I guess Gary's leaving.
See ya.
He said, have a good one. Talk to you later. Yeah, man. Thank you very much. So anyway, I asked, should we do a sort of an election theme show tonight where we're talking about, whether or not you can have a successful marriage if you're married to a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter and you're the opposite, And the other option was, should we talk about monogamy? And there was a video that was circulating for a while that we got. People sent it to us. And I think the couple's name is Deval and Kadeen, I think it is. Anyway.
Deval, I think.
Deval.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Deval and Kadeen.
Yes. They're cool people. We like them. And we saw this video, and it was, I guess, given to us by 4 or 5 different people.
Right.
So everybody voted pretty much. We only had like 2 votes for the other thing. Almost everybody said, do that one. Do the video. Comment on the video. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to put their question up. They had a question. So you already know this is Ask John and April Live. So basically, we do what we do. Every week we take questions. And this time we're going to actually take the question from the actual show that they had. And here it is. Oh, wait. Hold on, babe. I need this over here. Tonight's topic.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, Mike Knox. What's up?
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
This is tonight's topic,
y'all.
So crazy.
What people say?
If y'all ever skip a week, I'm gonna run.
We'll try to skip a week. All right, so here is the subject for tonight. This is the question, and we want to make sure that you guys know this, so we'll put it up a few times tonight just so you know. Why do women pressure men into monogamy, but then make their husbands feel like it's a chore to give them sex?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
It really is.
So let's first start with the whole idea of women pressuring their men into basically marrying them,
right?
Or monogamy, whatever, a monogamous relationship.
If you saw the original video, you saw that she took issue with her husband saying that
she basically forced him to marry her.
Right. Yeah.
Or pressured. That's the word. That's the word. Pressured.
Right. Yeah.
And, I never really liked that because I'm like, you're an adult. You should not, when you're talking about marrying somebody, I mean, you should not have anybody pressuring you. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I can't relate to that, but
you're saying you don't see how you agree with her when she says in her video that she felt like she was just saying what it was she wanted. She wasn't necessarily trying to pressure him, and that he had basically the ability to react to it or respond to it how he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm saying she was just telling him what she wanted, her desires, whatever. I'm saying that didn't mean that he had to do it.
Okay, so let's tell them just in case they didn't see the video, what was it that she said she wanted?
Okay, so she said she wanted a relationship, a monogamous relationship.
Correct.
She wanted to be engaged by a certain time.
Yes.
And she wanted to be married by a certain time. She was just telling him, I'd like to be engaged within the next year. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to get married.
I think she said, I don't want to be engaged for like a super long time.
Right. She said, I don't want to get but I want to be, maybe she said, I want to be married within the next year. Right. But I want to be engaged. I don't want to be engaged long. Right. Something like that. Right. And so he took that as her pressuring him into marriage rather than it being him just deciding, you know what, I'm going to ask her to marry me.
So let me just say that I get the idea of how a person who's trying to do something right can feel pressure in a situation like that. I guess it looks like Ambry's agreeing with me on that situation. You know what I'm saying? A man can feel pressure from a situation, but it doesn't imply that the woman is intentionally pressuring
That's
him.
what I'm saying.
Okay, right.
Okay, she did not intentionally pressure him.
Right,
okay.
Right. That's what she said, too.
She did.
She wasn't trying to pressure him.
But I'm
she said,
saying
but you may have felt pressure.
But if you go ahead and you marry and then you blame the person every time you get in an argument, you're like, see, man, you pressured me to do this. Then that's a problem because it's like she didn't do that on purpose. Right. You had that pressure on you. Why? Maybe because you know you should be doing that. Maybe because you know you should be asking her to marry you.
That's possible.
Or whatever.
But see,
I don't know.
That
what
just
was the reason why he wouldn't? I don't know. I don't know.
That just gets to the real issue for tonight because
that's not really the issue.
The real
that's just
topic.
The beginning. Yeah.
What he was basically saying was, you pressured me into marrying you, and then you act like it's a chore every time I want to have sex. And I think his point was, he could have basically stayed in a relationship where I guess he felt like sex was possible with other people. Clearly, if he was doing that, she would have not been happy.
No, that wasn't the case.
You know what I'm saying?
That was not the case.
Maybe he thought they were having more sex before they got married, and then it changed once they got married.
So look at what Taina said. He was free to walk away from the relationship if he wasn't ready to make that commitment. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're a man. You're an adult. You are grown. Right. Okay? If you did not want that, then, you had the right to say, and to be honest with you, the way that she was talking, it sounds to me like if he were to have said, I really am not ready for that, she would have stayed with him.
It's possible.
I think she would have.
That's possible.
Based on the way that she was talking, I don't think she just would have up and left. She said they would have had to discuss what was happening.
Like what would the next steps be?
Exactly.
Yes,
what were the next steps? That's what she said.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so forget all that though.
All right.
Let's get with where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Here's the bottom line, and I think I can understand this from a male perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay. I do think that by and large, and y'all can disagree with me or agree with me if you want, by and large, at least stereotypically, it seems like men in the relationship want sex more than women, meaning they want quantity.
Okay. And we will say stereotypically.
Let's just say stereotypically
because
I don't think every single man falls into that category.
No.
But by and large, I think that's the case, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
We'll say that for this episode.
Okay, so I guess his contention was we moved from, I guess, not being married to being married. As soon as we got married, we had so much less sex. You wanted monogamy. You wanted me to be the only person to have sex with you. And now that I want to give that to you,
right,
you won't allow me to have the quantity that I want.
Exactly.
Do you see his point?
Okay, so I just feel like, let's talk about this because, Kamala, you have you're saying the right thing right here. It says they had a lot of less sex after kids. Okay, so she mentioned that. She said, of course that was not the plan. She said her 26-year-old self was not thinking, I'm not going to want it as much as he does when I get this age or after I have kids and I have a career and all this kind of stuff. So you have to look at the whole picture. It's like she had kids and, was for some people after they've had kids and they, go through all of that, the libido drops. Right. Okay. And so that was not her plan. Okay. And for women, I feel like, he wants the quantity, he wants more. But what about the quality? Like, was the quality at the level that she needed it to be based on the, quantity? What does that mean? Like, it just, keep on,
So Ebony actually said.
Oh, Ebony said that.
She says quality/quantity. So I do think there's a difference. I would say that stereotypically, the wife probably wants the quality of sex to be better. Right. And maybe the husband doesn't necessarily think about that right away.
And Ty, you're right. She had 3 boys back to back. Imagine that. She's probably tired as what. Okay. I mean, you just have to think about all these things, right? So when we're talking
Primo making fun of you. April already mad when you started talking. Look at her face.
No, I'm not mad because let's just get into this. Okay,
I
can't. I'm multitasking. And I'm not able to think. Okay,
right.
So when we're talking about quantity, all right, the thing about it is, when is he trying to get some? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to think about this. Is he trying to get some at 2 o'clock in the morning? You know what I'm saying? Rubbing on her behind at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's been with them 3 boys all day and got a career going on. I'm just saying. You can't expect a woman every time you're just ready for her to just be ready. And, he mentioned that. He said, whenever I want to, I want to just be able to look at you and be like, okay, I'm ready. Right. Well, that is unrealistic. Right. Okay, that's unrealistic.
That's probably true.
And so that makes the quality go down because, or it could for her or some other women, because it's like, okay, that's like a quickie. Right. You know what I'm saying? And she may not like it like that. Right. You have to figure out what it is for her that she needs so that she's willing to say, you know what? I got to stop what I'm doing right now for this because I know that this is the right scene. It's what you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So I agree with that. And I see the female perspective in that situation, but I want to kind of look at the male perspective a little bit and just say this, because here's the thing. I think what I hear in DeVale's voice when he says what he says is that he feels like, is it Duval? Sorry. What I hear in Duval's voice is this idea that he feels like he could have been in the streets just sleeping with a bunch of women. And what he wants is to be rewarded for choosing monogamy. And I think what he feels like, and maybe what other men feel like sometimes is, if every time I try to get some, you're rejecting me, it feels like I'm being punished for choosing not to have sex outside this relationship. That's what I think I hear him saying.
Okay, but so Kim is saying he's being selfish.
No, she's asking. She says, so is he being selfish?
Okay, so is he being selfish?
And I would say probably, but probably because that's how we are in general, right? I also think, honestly, maybe there's some selfishness on her end too. I'm saying, to me, the solution to this problem has to be somewhere in the middle. It's gonna have to be sometimes where he says, I'm not going to mess with her tonight, even though he wants to. Right. And other times where she says, okay, I'm going to let him mess with me tonight, and when she don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
that's
so
true.
they're probably both being selfish in some kind of way. But I guess what I'm saying is, let's go back to my point. My point was, and my question is, and let's ask the question to everybody. Bottom line is, some men, especially men in the world who don't necessarily have a Christian background, what they know is, what I'm supposed to do is be faithful to one woman. But what I want to do is just sleep around. And if you don't have any kind of Christian background, you may not necessarily think there's anything wrong with sleeping around. You just know that no woman would like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so he chooses monogamy, and he's feeling punished because every time he wants to do something with her, she's saying, nah, I don't feel like it.
But what I'm saying is, what is every time? Are you being unreasonable?
Possibly. I don't know. I'm not there.
Unreasonable?
I have no idea.
What is every time? Because if it's every day, that could be unreasonable for a woman who's working every day and she's got these boys and stuff like that. So I'm saying he has to also say, okay, I know that she's working. I know that she, is dealing with the kids. I have to make sure that when I do pick those times, that they are, I have, put a little foreplay in there ahead of time.
And you mean foreplay for women, which is not necessarily physical.
Yeah, like helping out with the kids. Babe,
Right.
You go ahead and I got
Or
a bath.
doing the
I got a
dishes,
bath
or-
running for you.
Yeah,
I'll put the boys
yeah.
to bed tonight.
Right,
You don't think
right.
she'll be ready?
Right.
Yes, she will.
Yeah, possibly.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, she will. I'm just saying, like, there are some things that he could do to probably get that quantity up. But is he really willing to do that? Because that takes work. It takes effort. Like, do you really feel like doing that after your day? It's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a two-way thing. Now,
so hold on. Look what Emily says, and this is a good point. See, that
comments.
sounds like a threat. That I could be out there mentality. She could be out there too.
Right.
Let's have that conversation. You're
exactly.
right. You're
See,
right. That's true.
I actually got a little whatever about the conversation because I'm like, what does he mean? Like, and it felt like it was one-sided when I was listening to them talking. It was like, he could go out, but she can't. That's what I felt. It was like, I agreed to this monogamous relationship that you asked for, but, I didn't have to say yes. I could have just been like, you know what? I'm going to just go out and get mine whenever I need it. And I'm saying, why is that even, I don't know. And I felt like she should have responded more like, what? That's not even an option here. That shouldn't even be a discussion.
That shouldn't be part of the discussion.
No, it shouldn't be part of the discussion.
But
I see
do
what he
think,
was saying. I think he was
yes.
trying to say that he, not that he could, but do you want me to? Do you want me to think about doing that?
Right. So okay.
I think that's what he was trying to say.
This is what I think. I think that comment was a comment that every man would understand. And if you're taking my advice, you would never say that to your woman. Because she's always going to feel like you're trying to threaten her. I don't think that's what he was doing.
Right.
But I do think there is something in the in the male psyche that says, not I could be out there, but man, how come she's not recognizing that? But basically, what men want to be with their wives physically, and sometimes they want there to be some kind of like concession for them, even when you don't feel like it, because you want to reward us for being so faithful. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think.
Reward you?
Reward me. You know
I'm saying.
Give me
this
that.
is but there should not be a reward for being faithful. That is automatic. It's almost like...
Okay, hold on. I'm not talking about... Okay, you do your job in the house, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And whenever I say something positive to you about that, you're happy to hear that. Even though you you don't necessarily do it for the compliment. It's always nice to be recognized. It's always nice to get that verbal reward that I noticed you.
But
That's all I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm not expecting it. I'm not like sitting around saying, "Oh, he didn't give me no reward after I made all this food." Do you see what I'm saying? He didn't compliment me after I made this food.
I don't know if that's true, April. There are times when I don't say something and you ask me a direct question, like earlier before this episode started, and you'll say to me, "Well, you didn't say such and such," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I did say that."
No, and you know I didn't say it like that. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. I was saying, "Oh, you didn't say it, so I didn't think," because you were like, "Of course," and I was like, "Oh, well, you didn't say it, so that's why I was asking." That's totally different.
I don't think it's any different.
It is different.
I'm trying to tell you it's similar. I think it's the same kind of thing that he's doing.
Okay, but what I'm saying is to come with the attitude of, "I'm not cheating on you, I should get rewarded by you giving me some." That's crazy.
So here's why I have a problem with that.
You shouldn't even say that.
No, you should.
No.
Look, here's what I'm saying.
Wait. I should be rewarding you because you're not cheating on me?
That's not what I mean, babe.
I'm saying that's what it is. That's what you said when you said he should be rewarded for, not going out on her. I'm saying, is that what he was saying?
Let me put it a different way.
Okay.
Let me put it a different way.
Please.
Okay. If 5 days go by and you have not done anything with your man, what do you think your man is going to be feeling like after the 5th day?
What's going on? Like, I want something. Like, what?
Okay. Right. So what motivates a wife in that situation to basically say, "You know what? I'm dog tired. I got to cook. I got these kids, all that kind of stuff." What would motivate you in that situation to say, "You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give him some"?
Who said it earlier? Was it, I didn't see. Was it Emily?
I don't know.
I didn't see. Oh, it was Ebony. Warm that crock pot, buy or cook dinner.
So you're saying if he were to do something like that, then he probably could get some.
Yes, and I think.
Hold on. Are you saying?
Hold on.
I want to know. Are you saying that he should not expect to get any unless he does that?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if your quantity is low,
right,
then that means that something's wrong there.
So
if your quantity is low, then you are not hitting her buttons in an area, to me, where you are getting her excited about wanting to do anything. Because women, we are not ones who just say, "Hey, visually, I'm always ready. Like, I can look at you and be ready to have sex." That's not necessarily, and of course, we're what did we say? We're using generalizations
yes,
here.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So
for not every woman.
It's not for every woman. But for some women, it's like they need the environment to be right. They need it to be, it's an emotional thing for them. It's not necessarily all physical. So emotionally, if he sets it up, and you don't have to do much. Right. That's the thing. You don't have to do the crock pot thing every time. Right. But it's like, okay, did you send her messages during the day to let her know, I'm getting you ready, whatever.
Now hold on. Read what Primo has to say and tell me whether you agree with this.
The best support for a man to remain monogamous is frequent sex. The best motivation for a woman to give frequent sex is genuine affection, appreciation, and love. It's a cycle. Exactly. And I'm saying it's a two-way thing.
I agree with that.
It's a two-way thing.
But here's what I'm really asking, though, because here's what I want really to ask the audience. Do you think that if you always make it a two-way thing, that will always work? In other words, if it's a two-way thing, isn't somebody always waiting to react to the other person?
That's true.
And then doesn't that
mean... So who should be first?
Somebody always has to be first.
Yeah.
Somebody has to initiate it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying...
if you already got 3 boys... she did something. So I think automatically... I mean, I'm not trying to be like that, but seriously, automatically, the woman has already been giving and giving and giving. Right. And I think that it is, and again, these generalizations, men do not do these things to get the emotional environment right for the sex. Right. So I'm saying, okay, so here's men's got to step it up.
So here's what Ebony,
men have to step it up.
Here's what Emily is saying, and I agree with Emily, except I'm saying both need to do the same thing. Here's what she says. The reward approach is very one-sided. Look, man, forget that. Reward me for raising my kids. Pay me for my job I do. Pay me for chef, nanny, maid. Okay, this is what I'm saying, Emily. I actually agree with that. I'm saying I think each person in the relationship should be looking to reward their spouse all the time. And I'm saying reward them for stuff they're supposed to be doing. I'm saying that's the like mentality you want to have inside your household. And I'm not trying to say he deserved to be rewarded because he's being faithful and and that's it. It's one-sided. No, I'm saying both of them should be in this sort of, I want to reward my wife for being whatever it is she's being. Even though she's not doing it for the reward, I want to recognize it and reward it. That's all I really meant.
Okay. And I agree. And I think that the stereotype is men are rewarded and just automatically. Okay. And all the things that women do, they have to fight for that bath to be drawn. Okay?
You think so?
For some women, I do. Okay?
Right.
I do believe that. I do believe that some women, and I think in the relationship we're talking about as far as Kadeen and them, it's like, it sounded to me like that's something that has to happen, so that's just what I think.
So let's talk a little bit about the difference because we said it earlier. I think there's definitely a big difference between the way men look at sex and the way women look at sex. And I would say the husband is probably looking for quantity. I think the wife is looking for
quality.
What did I say?
You said quantity. You
Good.
said it right.
And quality.
Yeah.
So what I think we need to be helping husbands with right now is how to step up the quality.
Yeah.
So if the quality of the experience is high, I believe she'll look forward to it, anticipate it, be ready for it, all that kind of stuff, and probably would be willing to do that even if the environment before that she might have been tired as whatever. Prior to this whole thing, she would be more willing to actually do it. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I do. And I do think the timing is crucial because women are always tired.
Okay.
And they always want their beds,
right?
To sleep.
Right.
And so I think that has to be put into consideration as well. I do believe that we should reward each other. Mm-hmm. So when I was, I thought you were saying that he said that and you agreed that he should be rewarded because he's not. So let's just make that clear.
Okay, good.
I do believe that we should reward each other, but it shouldn't be like, I'm rewarding you because, you're not going out on me.
Right.
That's, to me, that's not the kind of rewarding we're talking about. I'm saying, we reward each other for the things that we do, like you said, in the home, and what we do for each other, that type of stuff. And I personally believe that there should be a number that you give to the amount of sex that you have per week.
Okay.
And
do we have to agree on this number?
Yes, I think you should agree with your person. Okay. And the reason why I say this is because I like you said, after 5 days has gone by, and so if let's say the woman has her libido is low, right? And she's going and she's working, doing her thing. She may not even recognize that it's been 5 days. So it could end up being another 5 days and then end up being 3 months. And the guy doesn't really want to say anything, or he does, and she keeps saying, I'm tired, right? So I think that I believe that communication when it comes to sex is low in relationships.
I agree with you.
Okay. Yeah. People do not talk about the sex life in marriages for some reason. Okay. Maybe because it's uncomfortable. You don't want the person to feel like you don't like it with them or whatever. Okay. I get that. But that communication needs to be at the same level as everything else. Conflict resolution, all that other kind of stuff. Right. So I believe that there needs to be a conversation and a talk like we need to have sex 2 to 3 times a week. Like two needs to be the lowest number so that everybody is happy.
So Bryant said, though, if there's a preset number, then what happens if that number isn't achieved and resentment builds?
Okay, well, but see, that's where the communication comes in.
So there are 2 ways to do the number. You could say we're going to have sex a certain amount of times per week, or you could actually say we're only going to let a certain amount of days go by before we have sex again.
That's true.
So there's 2 ways to look at the number.
Yeah, because you could say we're not going to let 3 days go by without.
Right, but your point is that's where the communication happens, because if I communicate to you, hey, it's been a couple of days,
there should be no building.
Then there wouldn't be a way to build the resentment.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you're communicating it. But again, even saying that out loud right now sounds a little awkward.
Right.
To say, yo, it's been 3 days.
So what happens though? What happens though if I get, rejected by you? Like, what happens if I come to you and say, it's been a couple of days, and and then you respond with, well, I'm really tired. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm feeling rejected again.
Okay, so then that's where a situation needs to be like, okay, she's tired. I have to figure out a way to get her ready. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have a situation. So that next day, your goal is, you know what? I'm going to do some things to show her that I'm going to set the environment so it's right. So she will want to do this regardless of how tired she is.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So you're suggesting right now that the husband has more power than he thinks he does in this arena, that he can actually set the table in such a way that she will actually be ready because she knows the quality is going to be there. And even if she's tired, she'll push through to make sure that joint happens because he done set the table.
And this is just my opinion, but
it might be based on fact. I don't know.
That's my experience. But I do believe that is true because we are emotional women. We are emotional people. Right. Okay. And that's a positive, ladies. You know, being emotional to me is a positive thing. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. People use that and say sensitivity and emotional.
You mean it in a positive light.
I mean it in a positive light.
Yes.
And I'm saying there is a way for the man to get the woman ready every day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It may not be an everyday thing that it happens, but I'm saying, are you putting forth any effort?
You're constantly priming the pot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are you putting forth any effort to prime that pot?
Right.
And if you're not, then you can't just expect that every time you rub her behind at 3:00 in the morning, she's just going to turn over and be like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay. So Fred Tate just asked, how do you set the table? All right, Fred, I'm going to give you, I'm going to tell you some stuff right now that I do in our specific situation. The reason I can tell you is because it's not that kind of thing, right? My wife responds to a lot of stuff that is not necessarily physical and not the things that I would consider sexual, okay? So my wife responds to verbal affirmation about pretty much anything. And in my particular context, if I really want to prime the pump, what I do is what I do is I make sure that not only do I say positive things to her, but I also don't respond in the same sort of, you know how normally I get short with you or I might get frustrated about something quickly. I will make sure that I'm trying not to do that because I know those are things that really bother her. In fact, for her, we could be having a great day. We could both have made the commitment that night we're going to do something. And then I might say something that now makes her totally out of the mood. So for me, priming the pump is doing stuff that is like totally different from things that are necessarily physical. But I have to know my own life. I figured these things out about her over time. And I've learned those things. Calling her out of the blue and just telling her that I love her or sending her a text message in the middle of the day. I'll send her an old picture of her that's on my phone and say, man, I love this picture so much. You look so good in this picture. You know what I'm saying? Something like that will automatically set things up so that later on that night, she's ready to go. And I didn't do anything necessarily sexual. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm telling you, it does not matter. If John put the kids to bed and sent me to bed early, like sent me to the room early and said, I got this. That was it. Yeah. Like there's no discussion there.
Right.
You know?
So when the kids were little, that was my go-to move. When she gets home from school and I can tell she's had a hard day, and I can always tell by the way she comes in. Usually April smiles, and if she comes in without a smile, then I know, okay, this has been a tough day. I'll ask her how it was or whatever, and then usually I'll say, why don't you go take a nap? And then I'll just do whatever with the kids. Sometimes I would take the kids out so that she wouldn't have to hear, because April, since we had kids, has had a tough time sleeping because her ears are always tuned to whatever's going on in the house. So if the kids are yelling or screaming or crying or whatever, that doesn't actually help. So sometimes I let her take a nap and I just take the kids for a drive. It wasn't even nothing big. You know what I'm saying? We go around, we go to the park, whatever it is, we get some time together, but she gets some time to just be able to decompress, because what I found with April was her whole day was dealing with kids. She's an elementary school teacher, then she comes home and deals with our kids. And me, a bigger kid sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So all that made a difference. Yeah. So for me, that was priming the pump, and it actually worked.
Now, let's turn this, because there were some times when I might have been tired, and John, turned and let me know, hey, I'm ready.
Right.
And I would be, go ahead and say, you know what? It's been a couple days. I'm going to go ahead and, even though I'm tired, and, you end happy.
Of course,
you're
always
glad
happy
that you did that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's both ways. It has to be where you're both highly alert to the time that has gone by. You know what I'm saying? How long has it been since I've given my man any?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not even thinking about that, do you really care?
Right.
You have to care about that. And again, I say this all the time. I feel like in marriage, you've got conflict resolution, communication, love language. As Donnie said, yes, Donnie, hitting that love language will do it.
Yep.
All those things you put here in the front, but then sex is over here. Sex is over here by itself, not being talked about, and each person having their own opinion about how they feel about that whole thing. Right. And I'm saying sex needs to be right there in the middle with all of the other important things in marriage. And it should be that me as a wife says, you know what? It's been 3 days. That's too long. I need to just go ahead and give him some, even though I might be tired. And the same for the husband. It's been a couple of days for me or whatever. Like if it's you that is the one that's always wanting it and she doesn't normally, I'm saying if that's the case, then you have to say, okay, what do I need to do in order to get her ready? What do I need to do to make this environment right? I'm saying it's a two-way thing. Yeah. And you got to bring that sex thing in the middle.
Ebony says priming the pump equals creating intimacy. So the point is, I can't remember who the guy was that asked us that earlier, but the point is, you have to know what intimacy looks like for your spouse in order for that to happen. So it's not just about having sex. Right. Which is why I'm saying we have to change our mentality as men, because for us it's about quantity. It's about how many times we do it. We're not necessarily thinking about the quality of it in the forefront of our minds. Now, I'll tell you this right now. After being married to April for 20 years now, the quantity and the quality are just as important. But when we first got married, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? It was more about, how many of these can we get in? Let's get reps. You know what I'm saying? We got to get these shots up. You know what I'm saying? but now it's totally different. And I'm saying now it's really about intimacy. I look forward to it because of the intimacy of it. And so creating intimacy is really one of those things that's different for every couple.
And see, that's the question. Is there intimacy in the relationship?
Right. So I have a different question, though.
Okay.
And this is the question that I think is really important.
Okay.
What happens in a situation when the libido is drastically different between the husband and wife? Meaning, and I've seen it both ways, by the way. I've seen husbands that have drastically low libidos in comparison to their wives. Right. And I've seen wives that have lower libidos than their husbands. And I think when you really think about it, the low libido for the wife is probably something that comes around having kids, all the stuff that goes on with, your job and stress and things like that. We've read some articles about this stuff. Your libido can actually be lowered from those different things, having children, stress at the job. There's a big one that I don't know if you guys know about, and that is birth control. Birth control is known to lower libido, and the different birth controls act differently. So like there's the actual pill, there's IUDs. My understanding is that for some women, IUDs lower their libido even more than the pill might.
Right. And Donnie, you're right. You need to have a medical check, because we've seen with men that they have low testosterone, which can cause a low libido. And men don't even go get checked for stuff like that, because it's all about generalizations. We always say it's the women. Right. And that have low libido.
And because if a man has low libido, because that is automatically seen as something other than what we stereotype about men, I think a man would probably feel some kind of way about doing something like that.
True.
You know what
I'm
saying?
Do. Yeah.
Donnie said weight also.
Weight, definitely.
All those
things play a part.
So what happens when one person has a super high libido and the other person has a really low libido? Right. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a consideration too.
And I'm gonna get personal and just share, because we had that really happen to us when after John was born. I had the copper IUD.
That was the worst in the world, guys. I hated that thing.
Okay. So not trying to diss the copper, but it might work for some people.
It didn't work.
But I mean, I was on my cycle for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And so it would be like 2 weeks. If you're on for 2 weeks, it's only a month. You
only have 2 weeks off.
So you only got 2 weeks
That's
off.
The only opportunity.
So it was right. So it was like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and so it was 2 weeks where we would not. And then the 2 weeks that I wasn't on, it wasn't every day that we were doing that. Your
libido was super low even during that time.
And we had little kids. Right. We had a little kid, so it was like working and working full time. Right. So it's like all of that. We went through a period where it was. I think it lasted. That was 3 years.
It wasn't that long, babe.
Yes, it was.
Was it? How did I survive?
I think it was 3 years.
How did I survive? How am I here right now? I don't understand.
Yes, it was because.
Won't he do it? Somebody was looking out for me.
Let me tell you, we were really busy.
We were, though. We were.
Really
that was
busy.
a very busy time of
life. That was a busy time.
And I would probably.
We were really tired.
Yeah, I would say my libido was probably lower then too. So I wasn't as crazy like a rabbit.
But I'm saying it affected our relationship in that we were just kind of zombies walking around.
Yeah.
We were tired and. There wasn't a whole lot of that going on. So the intimacy was even low.
Yeah.
And I think that affected the relationship. And I think, when you know that, when those things are going on, I think the medical check, I think talking to your doctor, I think those things are important. And again, I'm going to put that sex and take it from the side and bring it back to the middle and say, if you really care about that and know that is like one of the top priorities in a marriage.
It is.
It's like important. Top priority in a marriage. That you have to do what you need to do to figure things out. So if you have to go to the doctor to figure out what's going on, you can't say, I'm too much of a man to do that, or I don't want to have to go and find out what they have to say. I mean, what?
Yes, that's exactly what happened, Camila. The time was lost. It was like I blocked it out of my memory. I have trauma. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly traumatic.
Right.
It was traumatic.
I don't even remember that joint.
When I think back, I'm like, 3 years. How did we get through that?
Yeah.
But yes, with young kids, you need to call on your village.
That's
You're
true.
right.
Come get them kids.
You're right.
Now, that was our problem, Bryant. That was the issue. Right at that point, we were living in Durham, North Carolina. So April's parents were all the way down in Atlanta. My parents were all the way down in Chattanooga. And so the people that we really had, that we trusted at that point, was small.
Was not in Durham.
It was?
It was Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh.
It was Greenville, South Carolina. We were close.
Right.
We were closer to home, but it wasn't about that.
Point.
We couldn't just leave whenever. It was that we didn't have anybody in that area.
Right.
That's what it was. Yeah. Because in Durham, we ended up having people.
That's true.
But in Greenville, South Carolina, we did not have anybody.
We got some people, but it was toward the end.
It was toward the end.
Like Carolyn Cameron and stuff like that. We asked people we could take the kids to it. We trusted. But it was toward the end. We almost moved. So that was tough. We really didn't have the kind of village we could count on in that situation. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you want to just come get these kids, though. That is definitely true. And you need that to happen.
Yes. And so you have to take those times. And one thing we did do, we were consistent with date night.
Yeah, we were.
Okay, so... and I know you guys have heard that all the time. You need to have a date night. But seriously, like those kinds of things really help where and it doesn't have to necessarily be every week, but a time when this is the time somebody's going to come get these kids and we're going to be able to do our thing, because it has to move to the front. It has to move to the front of the relationship.
Okay,
I do believe that.
Let's go back now to the original thing with Kadeen and Deval.
Okay.
All right. So the question is, because first of all, somebody asked earlier, did we watch the whole episode? Now, I don't know who that person was that asked that. We didn't. I don't think we watched the entire thing. We went on YouTube and there was a part 1 and part 2. So the part 1 was the part that had all of the stuff that we talked about today in terms of him asking the specific question that we had on our topic for tonight. Why do women pressure men into monogamy and then make their husbands feel like it's a chore to give them sex? That was in part 1. But in part 2, I did notice that he was a lot more. At first, I was not sure about this guy, and then in part 2, I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy really loves his wife." And
he
he's
does.
actually.
And he talked about how they're best friends, and that friendship really.
Bye, Donnie.
See you, Donnie.
So you gotta go. But yeah, the best friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I actually, and he also acknowledged several times that he felt as though his expectations were unrealistic.
Exactly.
He did say that.
He did say that.
So when you watch more of it, you do see that this guy is someone who has obviously been married for a while and who understands the dynamics of this.
Yes.
But clearly he was speaking from his old self. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was amped about that joint.
Yeah, but as she explained to him, because the question, why do women pressure their men into monogamy? But then make their husbands feel like it's a chore to give them sex. The whole point, what she said that I think he came around on was that when we first got married, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was ready for you every time.
Right.
We were doing what we needed to do when we needed to do it. The quality and quantity was there.
Right.
But then when you bringing in 3 boys, you're bringing in a full-time job, you bringing in all the other stuff that goes along with family.
Right.
It caused her to not always be as ready as she was.
She also said, babe, that when she was if her 36-year-old self knew what she knew at age 26.
Right.
Excuse me. If her 26-year-old self knew what she knew at age 36,
right.
so she might have thought differently about it and said to herself, well, I'm not sure I can do that in that way if that's the expectation.
Right.
So she had this thought in her mind that at age 26, I wasn't thinking about that.
And
I
see,
had a
at
totally
age
different
26, he wasn't thinking about that.
He wasn't. No.
Like, nobody's thinking about that when they first get married.
You don't know what it's going to be like.
And there are times we have told our couples that we give premarital counseling to, we say to them, you know what? These are some things that are going to come up, but you're not going to remember that. Right. You're so happy to get married. Once you get married, you're not thinking about, let me make sure I'm ready 10 years from now.
Right.
After we've had 2 kids. You're not going to really be thinking about that. And so I'm saying once you get to that point, if you are there where your libido's low or you feel like there's not enough quantity, you might need to step up the quality.
Right.
You might need to figure out, okay, what is it that my wife needs in order for her to be ready? What is it that my husband needs? Donnie said it earlier, and he is a medical professional, and he talks about, how weight causes you to not really want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That libido's low. Well, maybe you need to look into, working on your weight together.
Right.
So that you both will be ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just think
we did that a couple of times,
actually,
didn't we? We had certain points in our relationship where we decided to just go to some kind of exercise weight loss regimen together. And what happened every time?
I don't think we need to say online what happened.
I'm not saying to tell what happened. The point is our sex went up. You know what I'm saying? The amount of
I'm saying you don't need to be saying that.
But they didn't know that. It works. You know what I'm saying? When you do P90X, that joint works.
It does work.
That's all I'm saying.
It does.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. I want to talk to the men for a second and just say, because we got to go. Here's the thing. I actually believe that we, as husbands, have the ability to make it so that our wives won't find it so hard. It won't be a chore. I actually think it's a chore for them in situations when we make it a chore.
Yeah, and
if we make it like an obligation, then that's not the best.
Do you really want it to be where it's like, I got to do this
right.
again?
You don't want it to be like, I have to. I got to punch the clock. You know what I'm saying?
There are so many ways that a woman is like, even if she is tired. I have been tired as what?
Dog tired.
Okay, but I know that what he did or how he set that up, man, it's like you can't. That's what you reward.
Right.
I don't reward because he's not around going out on women. I reward him because he is taking care of me. I'm a kept woman. You see what I'm saying?
Are you a kept woman?
I'm a kept woman. Are you a kept man?
Oh, there's no question about that.
Okay.
Everybody in this show knows that.
So if you're a kept woman, you are going to want to reward.
There's no question about that. That's definitely true.
It's true.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Now, again, this is kind of separate. When you talk about medical issues, that's something you have to deal with your doctor.
Of course.
Okay, but we're talking about...
Sometimes there's medication that actually lowers your libido. You got to know about that. You got to
figure that out.
Yeah.
But we're
talking
blood
pressure
about
medication affects men and their ability to...
A lot of stuff. So that's something you have to look at.
Right.
But when we're talking about two people who aren't having that issue, and really the issue is just, I'm not feeling it. I'm tired. I'm working all the time, whatever. Or there is no intimacy there, okay? There's no real intimacy. I had the word and lost it. I do that a lot.
You do.
I do that a lot at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
9:48 on Wednesday night. Anyway, my bad, y'all. But anyway.
That's fine. They don't care.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay, so a couple people. Let's get a couple comments in here before we go. First of all, ex-suspect says that's a good word. Thank you very much. We're trying our best. Woo asks coupons. Coupons.
Yes, we used to do that.
Are you asking Woo if we should use coupons, which a person can turn in at some point, and the coupon might say something like,
We've done that before.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
we have like one free, really long hug, and you turn on the coupon. Yeah, that's a good one. Primo says mutuality, period. I agree with that, Primo.
Mutual.
And by the way, we didn't get to it, but there's a text of scripture that I actually could have read tonight and opened that joint up. Maybe we'll do that next time. I think it's actually something we could spend a whole episode on, 1 Corinthians 7. It has this idea of mutuality in it that's very important, and maybe we should talk about that next time.
I think that's a good way to end.
I really do.
You sure?
What do you mean, with the text?
Yeah.
I mean, we can, but I think it's going to
open
a whole new can.
Open a whole new can.
You know
we might have to come back to
that.
Yeah.
Okay, Ebony said also trade out the onesie pajamas. I agree. In fact, I say you shouldn't be wearing pajamas to bed at all.
I agree. No pajamas.
Yeah, no zip up, nothing that's hard to access and all that kind of stuff.
Pajamas.
That's not even fair. You know what I'm saying?
Get rid of that joint. I have to agree on that one.
By the way, Ebony said earlier she has to be right back because
Peanut
X is calling. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. You don't know what you don't know. What you're signing up for with the marriage and kids. That's true.
You don't.
You're right.
With that person too. You're not sure how it's going to end up turning out. But when it does get to that point, you have to adjust. You have to figure out, what do we need to do here?
Yeah. And then Brian, life is a drain mentally, and even more so if you can't share the drains of life with your partner on all levels. That's a good point. So I actually think about this too sometimes, Brian. There are times when April comes home from school and I'm in a particular kind of mood, and because she's feeling down, it actually makes me feel out of the mood and all that kind of stuff. So what I had to learn how to do was not punish her for coming home and actually wanting to share her day with me, even though that changes the way that my mood is. The reality is this girl can only take so much, and she only has so many best friends to talk to. There's me and her sister. You know what I'm saying? That's basically it. And she talks to her mom, too, and they're very close. She might say her mom is on the best friend list, too. I don't know.
Yes,
but bottom line is, we have to find ways to be able to not only listen and be open to each other, but also I think that rewarding one another thing is an important aspect.
I do.
You know
think
what I'm saying?
So too.
I really think it's important. I think we need to do that.
Rewarding for let me
right
emphasize that again. Rewarding for the right things within the marriage, the good things that happen between the two of you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ebony, you still waiting for us to get your kids? Okay, come on, bring them right now.
Oh, you know we'll take them children,
anytime.
Honey. Them cute kids.
Exactly. We'll take them both.
We will take them both. So let's talk.
All right, y'all. So next week we are going to be right here again. Whoa.
Wait. Odara said putting on my body armor to go.
Odara said stop putting on body armor to go to bed. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? What in the world is that, man? That's crazy.
Says kids ruin sex, and
that's true.
And this is what I have to say about people with kids. They will grow up.
They will grow up. That's true.
It won't last forever. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute.
And in the
we
meantime,
can leave them home by themselves.
In the meantime, you have to figure out ways to get it in, even though you have kids.
So this is what I say, and this is what we did, and this helped us a lot. Our kids went to bed at 6:30.
Yep.
I know that sounds early, but they did. My sister Kim, she's on here. She used to pick on me.
Get the book. It's called Baby Wise.
Let me tell you.
That joint is off the chain.
My kids were in bed by 6:30.
Yeah.
So that gave us an opportunity to have those nights that we needed because they were in the bed sleeping.
Right.
If your kids are up going to bed, the time you go to bed, they're going to bed at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
Then that doesn't give you any time. When they go to bed, you're dead.
That's right.
And you don't even have any energy.
Early
so,
enough.
all of those things play a part. And so you have to sit down with your partner and figure out, because again, sex is such a crucial thing in a relationship. It needs to be where you are communicating about it and you're saying, what do we need to do so that this can be better?
Yeah.
So we can have more of it.
Ex-suspect, you asked for the book again. It's called Baby Wise. Baby Wise.
Wise.
It's basically a book that teaches you. If you just
look up Baby Wise, you'll see it.
Yeah,
It'll show.
It teaches you how to schedule your baby's life so that basically by 6 months they're sleeping like 12 hours a night.
But this is the whole concept. It's parent directed.
Correct.
So the parent is directing the feeding, the parent's directing the sleeping, rather than this child crying and letting you know, okay, it's time to eat.
Right.
Rather than them doing that, you tell them, no, it's time for you to eat now.
Correct.
So it's parent directed rather than child directed. It is awesome. It changed our lives. I'm just telling you that. Changed our lives.
And it made it so that we could actually have lives. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Thank you, Emily, for putting that up there. There's the book, Baby Wise. But Emily did it too, didn't she? Emily's a Baby Wise parent, I think. I'm almost positive. She told us that she did that with her kid. Anyway, I don't know. The point is, you need that in your life if you don't have it
Andrew
already.
said one can dream, 6:30, one can dream. I'm telling you, it's possible. It's possible.
That's right. Child Wise, Teen Wise, the whole series. You're right. They have a whole thing. Yes,
Toddler
it is dope.
Wise.
Thank you, London.
Yes.
Oh, London. You know what, man? You called me the other day. I got to call you back. I'm gonna call you tonight, right after this is over. Anyway,
we're trying to do that.
Yeah,
we're trying to write our own book.
We are trying to write our own book, man.
It's gonna be. Let's go back to that time and all that stuff. It'll happen. It'll happen
one of these days. All right, guys. So here's what we want you to do. Tonight's topic was easy, and we got our question basically from the what's your name. But in the future, we want you to actually, send us your
questions.
Yes,
Send
please.
us your questions. Some good
Send them
questions.
to us. Whatever you want, right there. Go to our Instagram, and you can do that. And
thanks, Tina.
What Tina say? Oh, hey Tina. Yes, thank you very much. We're glad that you think we're dope. We're trying to stay dope in this situation. But yeah, we'll check y'all next time. I don't know if that music's too loud or if you can hear it at all. Let me see. I'm gonna turn it down right here. How's that? Can you hear me talking still and still hear the music? I hope so. If you can, we'll see you next Wednesday at 9. In the meantime, follow us. You can go to our website and check us out there. You can go to our YouTube channel and you can do that. And all that. YouTube feed didn't broadcast tonight. Really?
Really? We saw it on there. Okay,
that's crazy.
We have to
I gotta figure that out. I'm not sure what's going on.
But talking about YouTube, you guys go to our YouTube channel, Just John and April, and subscribe.
Yeah.
And be ready for an episode every Friday.
Every Friday. We'll have another one this Friday. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see y'all. See y'all next Wednesday at 9. All right.
We'll find out who the president is hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we might find out right now. We'll see. All right, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.